While electric vehicles, or EVs, get the headlines in the fight to reduce climate change and get to net zero carbon emissions, Celtic Renewables is leading the green chemical revolution with award-winning innovation. Clients are lining up for what in the beginning will be very limited production. If that sounds like a great business and you want to know more, stay tuned. Welcome back to another edition of The Angel Nest, where real angel investors and entrepreneurs partner to build great companies. I'm David Hemingway. I'm a 5-time founder and now an active angel investor, and my mission here is to tell the stories that are powering innovation. We don't make or recommend investments at The Angel Nest, and this program is for informational purposes only. You can't tackle climate change without finding a way to get the petroleum out of petrochemicals, because they're in everything our modern society uses, from food to pharmaceuticals to household cleaners, personal care products, and more. Today we meet Celtic Renewables, who have taken up the challenge of changing that. They're making acetone-Butanol-Ethanol from the residue of whiskey distilling and rejected potatoes. Just incredible. That means they're actually using waste products to replace what would have been made with fossil fuels. Companies need to get to net zero, and consumers want a greener planet. They've got a plant, IP, and a list of 70 initial customers who are working with their products to create a greener and more sustainable Earth. It's a pleasure today to welcome Mark Simmers, founder and CEO of Celtic Renewables, and Mark Bamforth, his early and frequent investor. The Marks got to know each other when Mark Bamforth was a trustee of Saltire Foundation, which resulted in Mark Simmers coming to Babson College in Massachusetts and training as an entrepreneur. Mark Simmers comes to us today from Scotland, and Mark Bamforth from my old hometown of Cambridge, Massachusetts. Welcome, gentlemen.
Great to be here, David. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mark Simmers, what motivated you to take on such a difficult problem?
So great to be here, David. Yes, when I first read about this proposition, I was actually at Babson College in Massachusetts, and I just thought, what a great idea. The world needs this. And as we've scaled this up through all sorts of challenges, the joys of an early stage business, that's driven me all along to overcome the challenges, the thought that the world needs this and it really must succeed. And that's what we're about.
I love the fact that your input raw material is actually residue, and so it would otherwise cost money to dispose of, right?
Yeah, absolutely, David. It's a simple proposition. We take other industries' leftovers from their primary processes, and those leftovers are often difficult to dispose of, both commercially and environmentally. And we use those inputs to make high-value green chemicals. And as you said at the outset, those are used in a myriad of uses across our everyday lives as chemical inputs to processes and products.
So as investors evaluate Celtic, they're going to want to know how much you can produce, and how does that relate to the whole viable market?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And I think the answer really comes in two parts. I mean, firstly, the markets for acetone, butanol, and ethanol are global and huge millions of tons produced and consumed annually. And those markets are worth over 110 billion US dollars. And those markets are growing. The vast majority of all those chemicals comes from fossil fuels. And we're really focused on butanol and acetone, where Celtic Renewables can become the primary producer of the green versions of these, which are significant and growing markets, and we make exact direct replacements for that. The second answer to the question is around the waste and residues. There are billions and billions of tons of byproducts, residues, and waste from primary operations used each year from food and drinks industry, from agriculture. We are focused on the whiskey industry here in Scotland, but what's true in Scotland is true all over the world. And we look to see, well, is there enough material that we could convert all of that and completely displace the global market for acetone and butanol? And the answer is yes, there's enough material out there. But where are we now? We've built our first plant in Scotland. We can produce 1,000 tons of solvent, which is a very small amount in global scale. But we've got 70 very excited customers who are very keen to get their hands on our product. But the overall demand for our product at the moment is 50, 60 times what we can currently produce. And so we need to grow quickly to satisfy that demand.
So, Mark, does that mean we can all help promote a greener planet by drinking more whiskey?
Yeah, that's correct, David. Yeah, drink more whiskey, more byproducts, and we can convert that into green chemicals to make the world a better place.
I think here at the Angel Nest, we'll all try to do our part. Mark Bamforth, what made you get involved in Celtic Renewables?
Hi, David. Yeah, I originally did it degree in chemical engineering, and I did spend a couple of years working in the whiskey industry, so I have some knowledge of that. But from there, I moved into the biotech industry, and I've spent over 30 years building and operating facilities and building businesses that were based on manufacturing. So my passion really is about manufacturing. As you heard, I met Mark Simmers when he was at Babson College studying entrepreneurship, and I kept in touch with him when he returned to Scotland and was involved in taking this nascent technology out of a Scottish university and really proving this, developing the technology further, building IP around it. And then when he was at the point of looking to scale this and build a demonstration plant, that was when I got involved as a supporter and an investor to try to help on this next stage of the journey. And that stage is really coming to fruition now with that demonstrator plant up and running. And then the stage beyond this is really the stage of growth now, taking that demonstrator plant and building further plants that are 8-10 times the size of this first one and able to produce much greater quantities.
So let's talk about the IP. What is the sustainable advantage that Celtic can create?
This is an old process that dates back to the 1940s and 50s, but really the original way of manufacturing using fermentation to make these products died away and was replaced with using petrochemicals as the source. The IP that Celtic Renewables is based on came out of the Scottish University, and it's really focused on identifying the bacteria and the processes that could break down waste or byproduct materials from different industries, and from that produce these chemicals that are in common usage.
Mark Simmers, what does the next 12 to 24 months look like for Celtic?
This is our real opportunity for growth, is to take the blueprint that we've developed in our first plant and look to scale that. So we're out raising money and looking for partners who can help us on that growth journey. The plants we're looking to build in Scotland and Ireland initially are 8 to 10 times bigger, and we've got 2 or 3 of those opportunities being developed as we speak. We're also looking to sort of broaden and deepen our technology roadmap and our IP position, as we look further afield to international markets to see what we could do with the bourbon industry in the US or the whiskey industry in Japan. So some huge opportunities to take this technology on an international basis.
Thank you very much. In our next episode, we'll talk with Bettina Briley. She's the product group leader at Caldic, the distributors for Celtic Renewables. So she has an upfront view of the demand for Celtic's products, which she says is booming. Mark Bamforth and Mark Simmers from Celtic Renewables, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can find contact information for our guest today at our website, theangelnest.com, where you can also reach me if you know of a company or an exciting opportunity that we should talk about. My email is david@theangelnest.com. As a reminder, we don't make or recommend investments at The Angel Nest, and this program is for informational purposes only. I'm David Hemingway. We produce The Angel Nest with help from David Newhoff and Charles de Montebello at CDM Studios at the beautiful Art Deco Film Center building just west of Times Square in New York. Thanks for listening, and here's hoping all your ventures in business and in life provide a happy return on your investment. We'll see you next time.